tell us about your life in the Army in Korea.
My life in the Army in Korea probably started with this particular ship, which was an old freighter that the Army had somehow acquired, and it carried some president's name, like McKinley or somebody that we don't recognize as any great president. And they put me on this ship near Seattle, and we went out into a terrible storm in the Pacific that very night. Well, we were several decks down, us troops, and somebody told me ahead of time, get in the top bunk. That made sense, because when people started to lose it, I was above them. The only thing was, after enough troops had lost the contents of their tummy, the whole floor of the ship was awash. And so as the ship tipped to one side, all this vomit would come across as a big wave and hit up against the bulkhead on the other side. And then the ship would roll, and the vomit would start to creep back up and then come crashing against the other side. What a disgusting scene. I had part of that night guard duty on the deck or whatever, and thank God I did. I didn't have to stay in that awful place. I learned how to play chess on the way to Korea. I went to Korea, and this picture here is our division headquarters in Korea. And this little building here has a tank on the top. And once in a while, a truck would come with a bunch of water and put it into that tank. And we would all see him coming down the road and run like hell and get your towel and your soap, because you're going to get to have a shower for a little bit. As long as you could hang on to the chain, you could stand under there and shower yourself off. One of my disasters occurred there in the shower one day, because I showered off and it felt so good, so wonderful and whatnot. I got back up to my hooch, getting dressed in fresh stuff, and I realized my wedding ring is gone. Judy is never going to understand how my ring is gone between me and the shower. I ran back down there real quick and started looking around. There were wood platforms that we stood on when we got showers. I lifted up the wood platform, and there was my ring laying on the concrete. Whew, disaster averted. I was a young man then, but I was older than most of the other guys who were there. And this is in front of one of the officers' quarters. They had better quarters than we did. And year was 1956. This is my friend Pickle. He came from Oklahoma. He was a good guy. He enjoyed life, and I enjoyed Pickle. When I went over there, I was a member of the 24th Infantry. In any war, it is the infantry who takes the terrible stuff. And so the 24th Infantry had lost their colors, meaning their flag, during the Korean War. So to suffer punishment for that, they were not allowed to ever return to the United States, but forever do foreign duty as a disgraced unit. So I was a member of the disgraced 24th Infantry unit. And this is a picture at Kempo Airfield called K-14. And we're going to take this plane and fly over to Japan for R&R. What they did with this plane normally was load it full of guys and throw a ton of mail sacks on there and see if at a certain point on the runway they were going to make it off or they didn't. And this particular time they didn't. So they chop the engines and stop her down and go back. And they throw off some mail sacks and then try again. Oh, jeez. It was this airplane that I was coming back from Japan. We took off in Tokyo, and we're climbing out, and we're up near Mount Fuji, and we're trying to get to our altitude. I had gone forward to the cockpit, and so I'm listening to the conversation and looking out the windows up there. And they're trying to get us to climb up to 17,000 feet. In a civilian plane, that would require oxygen for all of us, but not the military. And furthermore, we couldn't make 17,000 because we lost an engine. And that engine, somebody said to me, that engine stands still out there. I said, no, that engine not stand. Yeah, look out here. And you look out there and you see a propeller absolutely standing still. We got 3 engines left on this thing, and we can't make 17,000 feet. So Tokyo Control is not happy with us. And we're asking, give us a lower altitude. No, I can't have a lower altitude. We crept on over using an extraordinary amount of fuel in order to get there. And I'm looking at the fuel gauge and I'm thinking, I don't know, we're going to make it or not. And the pilot also didn't know whether we were going to make it or not. There was a bit of a cloud cover underneath, not complete, but like 85% complete. And the pilot started ducking down every once in a while and looking around for the airport. Good grief, give me a break. We're low on gas and he's looking for the airport. It all worked out. I'm here. We're allowed to wear civilian clothes in Japan, and took the train out of Tokyo and went up to see the mineral springs, went up to see the great Buddha Kamakura, take a trip on a lake there in a boat, and then finally return to Seoul and go over and visit the University of Tokyo. And to show you how provincial us flatlanders are, there was a baseball game going on at the university, a practice game obviously, and we walked over there to see what the practice game was happening. And this little old fellow in the most Asian clothing you can imagine, with the long wispy beard that hung down from a generation earlier, with these little itty-wash shoes, comes prancing over to us, and he looks to be 75, 80. And you think, oh no, he's going to say something to us in Japanese. We don't know any Japanese. And he came up to us and he said, how do you like the way my boys play baseball? Blew me out of the water. He knew more of the world than I did. And proof that we farmers